farmers have not had the opportunity to be educated, to learn, to understand what they need. I was in Burundi, and I was talking to these farmers about how they plant, and they were showing me, and I said, okay, now if you're going to listen to me, try this in a very small way, and if you like it, great. If you don't like it, so don't go do your whole field this way. Just, but let's find a piece of, they didn't have string, so they found a piece of rope. And I said, okay, let's take that rope out. Now let's take a stick and break it, and we're going to flip it and flip it and flip it, and we're going to plant every time we flip it, and then we're going to take a stick and notch it, and that's how deep we're going to put the seed. They looked at me like I was from outer space, and I said, but just try this and see what happens. And I've done that in Central America too, in some places, and I've gone back, and the first question these farmers asked me? What's next? I mean, they had success, and that's all you want is success, and it doesn't have to be overwhelmingly, successful. It just has to move them forward. It has to move the bar. You're working in a part of the world where you can't get good data. Let's just face it. Okay, so there's a lot of guesswork in this. But I'll tell you, my goal isn't to read something on a piece of paper that says by some year we're going to have less amount of this. That means nothing to me. What means something to me is when I go back to North Kivu in Congo and people aren't at war, people are eating well, a large amount of people have come out of poverty, they're growing better crops, their market's developing. That's what counts. And no goal that you set on a piece of paper can achieve that. We farm for profit. Some people farm to live, to survive, okay? So if you're talking to a farmer who his risk profile is, if I don't get the crops I need to get out of this field, one of my kids dies, and I've talked to people who have had kids die because they can't feed them. That's a sober conversation. Most of the time when I ask those questions, the translator won't ask them, but I've had the opportunity to do it a few times. And that, you walk away from that experience with a very different opinion about what you should be doing. And what you shouldn't be doing is showing up and saying, this is the way you need to do it. You gotta listen to them, you gotta understand the context of what environment they're in, what their resources are, what their limitations are, and you have to appreciate the fact that that risk profile is completely different than what your mind thinks of. And so your mind is not thinking right in terms of, you have to adjust, you have to totally adapt to how would I do this if I were that farmer. And that's not so easy to do. And it does not happen with people who have never seen that, who have never experienced it, and who have never farmed. They cannot comprehend that. That is like asking me to do heart surgery. I wouldn't have a clue what tool to start with or where to cut you open, and I'd kill you. So I mean, it's you do what you know how to do, and too many people are telling people or setting policy in agriculture that don't understand agriculture.